I was watching an article by Economic Ninja where he was talking about how the I think it was a 5-year bond is they just raised it like over 20 basis points, and they still couldn't find enough buyers. The rest of the world has finally stopped buying U.S. dollars, and it's finally starting to come home to roost. It takes a minute for buy orders to stop, for them to slow down, for everybody to change. Because if you remember, what was it, a year, maybe 2 years ago, China told their people, and I think even Russia told their people, stop buying U.S. bonds, stop buying American currency. It's not going to be safe for long. And then we have this stuff going on with the BRICS, and you've got all these nations that are therefore trying to compete and get away from the dollar. Plus, you have this massive inflation that's happening with the dollar. Nobody wants it, because the only thing we have left to export other than our dollar is the inflation that's attached to it, and the rest of the world can't keep up with it. You and I, we live off of thousands of dollars a month. The rest of the world lives off of less than $100 a month per person. In American or in Western currency, most of the world lives off of much less than we do, but the way our dollars go versus the way our dollars go overseas are much different. So I mean, this is something to definitely consider. So let's just say that you get some sort of government pension, whether it be public employee, whether it be like my old man, he gets his army retirement, you get your Social Security, you get your aging and disabilities, and you get all that stuff. Well, if they can't sell enough bonds, even though they're bound by contract to do it, at what point do they just start printing money and saying, okay, we've printed enough, or we can't get anybody to buy it, to assume the debt, so therefore we're just going to print. And then how long until that becomes worthless? Because just like with the Weimar Republic, it was the United States that found out that they were just printing money, because they were in a similar situation where we are now. Their financial epicenters were taken away by the Allies, as part of their spoils for winning the war, and they just left Germany the scraps and then split it into two. And well, that destroyed a country, and then on top of that, they had to pay back a massive war debt. And it was designed so that they couldn't pay it back. And a lot of people say that is essentially what caused World War II, was the actions that the Allies did to the German Empire. And we could very well see the very same thing here, because that led to the rise of Hitler. And Hitler was able to rise because we were in such economic downturns. It would be like Trump coming back on the floor. Instead of being elected for the first time in 2016, he gets elected for the first time in 2024. Okay, now imagine the amount of rhetoric and the amount of things that he is saying, that he is getting enough of the populist support in the same way that Hitler was able to get the populist support. Now, I'll answer that in a second, Cherokee. Now, am I dogging Trump? No. Am I praising Trump? No. I'm neutral on him. He was good for the economy. It's the economy, stupid. I'm surprised that he lost, but I'm not going to contest the election for various reasons. Now, do I think that he'll win? No. I think that he is destroying the Republican Party. But what he's doing within the Republican Party is, I think it's worse than what is going on within the Republican Party to begin with. So a lot of Republicans, a lot of people that call themselves conservative, who have ran away from the party, but still vote Republican because they don't know who else to vote for. Those are the people that Trump really has behind him. And then you have these hardline war hawks, fascists, government control, central control, and those are the guys that have been in there forever, and they want to keep the status quo, so they keep going with it so that they can maintain their own control, so that they don't lose their status in life, because that's their own personal benefit. Well, I mean, just there's a lot of stuff that's just kind of going along, and I think that Trump is ripping the Republican Party apart. We're seeing that play out with the speakership. Jim Jordan, who I figured would be a shoo-in, I really thought that Jim Jordan would have been the guy, especially considering he was backed by Trump. He was the one that broke the whole scandal with the FBI wiretapping him. I figured that Jim Jordan would be a shoo-in, but apparently not. And we don't know exactly what the Republicans want, or at least the ones that have the power, what they actually want. And I think what they're trying to do is to keep the status quo while giving the illusion that they're doing something. So, for example, and this is where I differ with the Coalition for the Homeless. This is where I've had somewhat of an intellectual debate with them on this, and a lot of this comes from like Epoch Times. They have their own YouTube channels, and there's one guy, I think it's called California Insider, and he did a whole expose on how this whole affordable housing thing is a scandal to begin with. And part of the reason why he was saying that it was this way was because they would say, okay, we're gonna build affordable housing, but they're gonna go over there and they're gonna build in they're gonna build in some upper class period of town. Well, the poor man still can't afford to pay rent, and this new place that popped open, nobody that is really poor can really afford it. So therefore, did they really create affordable housing? No. What they did is they put a name on it that says it's affordable housing. They get to take money from a fund that is designed for affordable housing, but the housing is not affordable. It's just more affordable for those that can already afford to live there to begin with. And that is the real issue with affordable housing. So now in the newspapers that we're putting out, it's like, vote yes on 24, we need affordable housing. No, they're voting for it because it says affordable housing, not because it actually gives affordable housing. And I think that in the same way that I'm drawing the correlation there, I think the same thing goes on with Donald Trump. Or not with Donald Trump, but with the Republican Party, is that they're trying to get something to where they can brand it as rent control, or not rent control, but affordable housing, but still keep doing the status quo and still make their money and still do the same thing. So I think that's really what's happening within the Republican Party, is that you have enough of the populace that is not only informed enough, because the majority is no longer benefiting from what's going on in the world, and especially here in America. So since the majority are not benefiting, they're starting to ask questions, and they're starting to find out that they've been asleep at the wheel the whole time. And so now you have those people that are starting to hold their politicians to the fire, but you got to realize that they're also using rhetoric from Ontario. Hi, Antone. I don't know how to pronounce that. I'm really bad with names. But it just with the Republican Party, I think that's the same thing that's going on inside of it. Do you guys agree with me? Do you disagree with me? I mean, this is perfect time for you guys to step in and say something, but I'm using history to kind of show how we're repeating the same cycle over and over again. It's just a different time. So, Antoine. Okay, Erica, thank you. Much appreciated.